I think a man should have absolutely no interest in whether he's actually happy or not. If I wake up and I'm unhappy, I will do the exact same things as if I am happy. I will go to the gym the same. I will work the same. How I feel has no impact on how I live my life. I don't think happiness as an index is a healthy view for a man to have on life success. I think a man's role on this planet is also another thing that we need to redefine to some degree, right? I think a man's role on this planet has changed, but from the dawn of human time, a man's role has always been the capability for violence. This is what men were, right? When I look at the world, I look at it from a societal perspective and I look at it from an animalistic perspective. Society has told us to be certain ways, and then our animal instinct tells us to be another way. So society tells you to marry one woman and be loyal, right? And then you have me saying, men are not supposed to do that. We don't want to do that. Any man who sits there and says, I want to do that is lying. He wants to keep the woman he loves, and he wants the woman he loves to be happy, of course. But if he could keep the woman he loves and keep her happy and have other women, he would. What? You're lying if you say that's not true, right? So from an animal perspective, a man's primary role was the capability for violence. We went to war, we conquered stuff, we built stuff, we conquered. That's what men did, we conquered. To this day, still now, if you look at men, many of them are still trying to conquer the world one way or another. Some men are born with something else inside of them, with a fire inside of them, which cannot be extinguished by beans on toast, TV at night, 9 to 5, sitting around with your wife. I know me as an individual, I could not be satisfied with that. That doesn't mean I look down on the people who are. Absolutely, congratulations. But my time on the planet, I guarantee, will be more eventful. I will die with more stories. I would have made a bigger ripple in space-time because I refuse to comply with just the average, this is okay, you'll be happy with this, take it. There's always been that class of person. Even since the dawn of time, there's been the normal guy, and then there's been the dude who insists on conquering the world. There's been Napoleon who says, no, fuck you. I'm taking this and this and this. It depends what you're born with, right? I think one of the biggest mistakes a man can make is to judge his life. Let me reword this. I think a man should have absolutely no interest in whether he's actually happy or not. If I wake up and I'm unhappy, I will do the exact same things as if I am happy. I will go to the gym the same. I will work the same. How I feel has no impact on how I live my life. I don't think happiness as an index is a healthy view for a man to have on life success. But I think for a man, if you're waking up and going, oh, am I happy? Am I not? You're looking at life wrong. I think of a man, if you put happiness if you move it down the scale, right? And you start looking at, am I successful? Am I competent? You know, am I achieving things? Am I respected? If you start to look at these indicators of your life, you're going to end up being happier without actually analyzing if you're happy or not. So for me, I understood very, very well that $500,000 a month is good, but $1 million a month is better. And I also very, very much understood that as soon as you stop pushing forward, as soon as you go stagnant, you're dying, right? As soon as you stay in one place, you're slowly on the way down. Right? If your podcast, if your channel now were to stagnate in views, you'd be worried. That's effectively dying. It has to grow at all times. So every business has to work. So for me, I was under enormous pressure. I didn't think, oh, I have plenty of money now. It was the complete opposite. I wanted to work harder, more hours. I found the tap. Bro, if there was a golden tap that unlimited money and you had buckets and you took one bucket of money, would you just take that bucket, or would you run back and get another bucket and run back and run? I couldn't stop. I couldn't sleep. I'd wake up to go piss at 3 a.m, take a piss, and by the time I finished pissing, I'd be like, I've slept 3 hours, that's enough. And wake the chicks up and put them back online. I couldn't get it out of my brain because I saw that I'd replaced fighting, which I loved, with this. And this was my chance to escape the Matrix. Bro, this has been inside of me since as early as I can remember. I remember walking to sixth form college. I was 16 or 17 with my 4 friends, and a Ferrari burnt past us. And I said to my boys, I was like, man, how'd that guy get that car? And they're like, don't know. I was like, doesn't that annoy you? I'm like, why would it annoy me? Because we're going to school. Our parents are on council estates. Like, we're trying to scrape 20 pounds a week to eat. This dude has 400 grand for a car. Doesn't that aggravate you? Doesn't that show you that there's something about the world you do not understand? That you're missing something? And they're all like, not really. And they're all the dudes who are right now at home, 9 to 5, couple blowjobs, I was never that guy. I was pissed off for weeks because I saw some dude in his Ferrari. you understand? I was like, no, I have to. So now when I push my Ferrari, I'm like, this is the full circle. This is the universe giving me what I've always been manifesting. Does that make sense? Yeah. So now when people say, Andrew, why do you have 17 supercars? Because I have 17. I have every brand you can fucking name. I have 17 cars. I have over $10 million of cars. But because it was a car, these cars used to piss me off. So now I have to have them all. I don't even drive them. I have to have them. I'm trying to conquer the earth, my friend. Maybe I'm crazy, but this is what I'm trying to do. It's what I've always been trying to do. So I've never been satisfied. To this day, I'm making more money now than I was making in my cam days. I'm still not happy. But I don't judge my life on happiness. I don't look at it that way. I look at all the other human metrics and say, where am I failing? Am I in good shape? Yeah. Am I rich? Yeah. Do I have good friends, good connections? Yeah. Do I do whatever I want? Am I free? Tick, 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 tick. Well, fuck it then. Then life's fine. You know, I'm happy every day, right? Let's say happiness is a scale. If you're not distraught, then you're happy. And I mean that like 3 or 4 times in your life, like a family member is going to die, or something really bad's going to happen and you're going to be devastated. And when you're distraught, you can't even talk. Like, you know, when you're genuinely heartbroken, you can't even speak. You can't even talk. You just want to be left alone and you can't talk. Those days are coming for all of us. Either we're going to die or someone we love's going to die. Those days are coming. This is guaranteed. So until those days come, I'm happy. I'm very binary. Yes or no, 1 or 0. Unless I'm distraught, I'm happy. Now, happiness can be a sliding scale, right? I can be less happy some days than others, but I'm still happy because I'm not distraught. There's a really interesting show I watched a long time ago, and it was a documentary about colors. And it was saying they found this tribe in Africa, and in the tribe in Africa, they had different names for the colors than we have. And they got 2 different shades of blue, which were basically identical. Like blue, one kind of blue, another kind of blue, basically identical. And to them, they were completely different colors. But then they put like blue and yellow and they couldn't tell the difference. They couldn't tell the difference because the blue and the yellow had one name and these 2 kinds of blues had a different name. And what they were trying to say is if your brain is associated a name with something, it's very hard to work out the difference between the 2 things that have the same name. Does that make sense? Yeah. So I'm never unhappy. I'm happy always. Do you understand what I mean? If I'm not distraught, I'm happy. So I never wake up and go, oh, I'm unhappy today. I wake up and go, oh, I'm a little bit less happy today, but I'm happy. I've labeled myself as happy. I've labeled myself as lucky. I'm labeled these things, and I truly believe them. I will pass any lie detector test today that I'm the most content, happy man in the world because that's what I've decided. That's what I've labeled myself as. I talk to people all the time like, oh, I'm unhappy, I'm depressed, and I'm like, stop saying it. You're saying it. You gotta speak. Yeah. Why are you saying it? You're happy, my friend, because you're talking. If you're truly unhappy, you don't talk. Think of the last time you lost a family member. The first thing you did is you sat in silence for half an hour. First, you get a phone call and you just sit there. And someone goes, what's happened? And you might give them a few words. That's unhappy. If you're running your mouth down the pub about being unhappy, you're attention seeking. That's what you're doing. So a lot of people are labeling themselves, and I absolutely refuse to take my own power away. There are so many things in the world trying to kill us. Like, you got enemies, you got people on the streets with blades, you got bacterias, fucking lions. Oh, I've got enough enemies, bruv. Sharks want me dead. I've got enough enemies. Why am I going to take my own power away? And this is what people really don't yet understand. There's only one thing on the planet you actually have control over. You can't control the weather. You can't control your health. You can get a brain aneurysm or a heart attack. You can't control other people. The only thing you can actually really truly control is what you think. That's the only thing you can change in real time. You can be thinking of red and change it to blue. So why are you not controlling your own mind? It's your asset. It's your ally. It's your friend. Why would you make an enemy out of the only thing you have control over? I refuse to do that. It doesn't make sense to me. The worst thing on earth that could happen to a man could happen to me. And I guarantee you, I would still label myself happy. I'm happy because that's who I am. That's how I view myself. That's what I've decided. You have to decide what you want in life. I want to conquer the world. And if you're going to conquer the world in the modern society we live in, that's going to be a fiscal conquer. That's what you're going to do. You're going to make a bunch of money. How else are you going to conquer the world? That's what I wanted. You have to decide what you want. And it's different folks for different strokes, and it takes a lot of different kind of people to make the world go round. But if you truly want to conquer the world, you're going to end up wanting a bunch of money because that's the way to do it. That's the way to do it. So you have to decide the life you want to live. You're a different man when you have no safety net. You're a different man when you have to pull it off. Not, I need to. No, I literally have to pull this off. I have to roll the dice. Most men don't understand what it feels like to roll the dice and you have to get a 6. They go, what do you mean you have to? No, I have to get a 6.
Yeah.
Oh, but what if you don't? No, I have to get a 6. You're not understanding me. So that's extremely character building. And for that reason, I'm going to make sure that my children, another thing that comes with it, I took a bunch of risks that I would never be comfortable with my children taking, because this is the problem. You go soft, right?
Yes.
I was riding around on a motorcycle with no insurance, running from the cops.
Yeah.
I could have been splattered on the road, and I would never want my son to do that. But at the same time, I want him to be like me. Yeah. So it's difficult. As for my teenage son, I'm gonna try very hard to. He's gonna have problems he needs to solve. And I think if you're a young man, even if you're not my child, if you're just any man who's out there in the world today, you need to look at some problems that need solving, either for yourself or for society, and find a way to fix it. And I think that you should just adopt some problems and try and fix it. It doesn't matter what it is. You can just try and fix the litter in your area, or you can try and get a 6-pack, or whatever you want. Men are builders. The modern world, call me misogynistic, the modern world was built by men. Every building you're in was built by men. Every road you drive on was built by men. We're builders. We build things, and that's what you should be focused on. And like I said before, if you're hardworking and you build, I think you'll do well. You can't hide away from the brutal realities of work. That's it. And while we're on the subject, that's actually where these last 2 years have been pure clown world, because I've known some people who have made a bunch of money in crypto, and I've said to them, what you've just gone through, what you've just done, is once in a generation, and it's completely ruined you. Because normally, if you make, let's say, 200 grand, you have learned lessons to make that 200 grand. Yeah. You've learned marketing, you've learned sales, you've learned how to manage staff, you learn how to deal with pressure, you learn how to be on time, you've learned a bunch of things.
So you can continue it.
So you can continue. And even if you lose all the money, you retain the lessons.
100%.
What have you learned? You bought a coin, it went up. Okay, good. You have not learned a single fucking thing about how money is made, about personal development. You didn't even learn how to have a firm handshake and put on a tie. You learned nothing. You pulled it off. You made a few dollars. You've lost them now. And now the worst thing about it is you think you're too good for work. You think you're so smart now. Yeah. Oh, I made it. This is the next one. You got lucky. Now you think you're too good to actually get up and grind. You think you're just going to pull it off again, another lottery win. And you don't think you have to work very hard. And guess what's going to happen to you? You're going to be fucking broke. Because that's not the reality of the world. That clown world shit is over. All that shit is over. We're about to get into harder times than ever. If you're sitting at home and you made a bit of money with crypto and you think, don't worry, it's going to go up again soon, you're just praying for some external force. That's not self-accountability. Sitting and watching the Bitcoin price, waiting for it to go up so you have money, is not self-accountability. That's prayer. Then you might as well just do the lottery numbers. All these people who made money in this clown world, a lot of them haven't learned any lessons about the reality of Earth, and it's about to get a lot harder. I can never be poor. My skill set, the people I know, my phone book, my reliability, my reputation, you could take all of my money today. I'll be a millionaire again in 2 weeks. I can call people and say, lend me 10 mil. Oh, that's Tate. I can call people. I know people. I have a place I can go. I'm good at speaking. Like, once you have those lessons and once you have that network and once you have those things built, you can't go broke. You really can't. You get to a point of life where the only way you could go broke is if you become a drug addict or something ridiculous. Don't complain when the NHS are on strike and you can't get seen and I'm in a private hospital in fucking Saudi. That's your problem. You have to just make your decisions in life and live true to them. But creating a circle is ultra important. And it's not just important financially, it's also important for your entire life and your mindset as a whole. Because it's amazing, especially amongst men, we never want to be the poorest person in the room. We never want to be the weakest person in the room. You never want to be, so if you're with a group of killers, you have now this massive expectation. It's almost like societal pressure and a positive force. If I go to my friends, I can't be the weakling. If everyone does X amount of push-ups, I have to do it.
You might get dropped out.
Yes, well, you don't want to.
That's not happening.
You don't want to feel that way,
no.
Right? My team, it's not just about how we make money. It's also an entire mindset. I don't want to be the only scared one in the group. If me and my 6 closest friends are walking down the street and a couple guys came up to us with machetes, I know they wouldn't be afraid. So now I'm not afraid. Now no one's afraid. Now you're fucked.
Now the guys with the machete should be afraid.
That's right. It's like an army. It's like a gang, right? You have to have that mentality. So it's not just even about money. It's about your entire life you create. If you're a person, if you're a man and you're out here and you go, you know what? Who do I want to be? I want to be strong and rich and brave and respected. Then I need friends who are strong and rich and brave and respected. That's what you need to do. If you're going to say, oh, I want to be these things, but I hang around with this guy because we play FIFA together, then you can stay a fucking loser. And that is your decision. Stay a loser. I have no sympathy for losers. I want to make this another thing clear that ends up on TikTok and everyone cries their eyes out. I don't give a solitary fuck if you want to stay at the bottom of the societal totem pole. If I'm going to ignore how I feel day after day so I can perform, regardless of whether I'm sad, happy, pissed off, tired, if I'm going to get up and work anyway when I'm tired, how do you expect me to feel sorry for you because you didn't work when you were tired? If I don't care about my own emotions, I certainly don't give a solitary shit about yours. If you want to stay a loser, stay one. Good, it's fine. Stay a loser. I have no sympathy for you. I don't care. I was instilled with a duty for a very long time to honor my ancestors through achievement. And I was told from a very young age that the only thing your ancestors are interested in is achievement. Even to this day, when I do podcasts, people repeatedly talk about my father. If I wasn't successful, he wouldn't be spoken about anymore. He died 9 years ago, and he was a good chess player, but no one's really that interested in chess. The reason he lives on is because I'm so monumentally successful that people are interested in my origin story, and he is mentioned. The reason I will live forever is because my son will be so monumentally successful that they'll talk about how he could have been such a perfect specimen of man, how he was raised, and they will mention me. If you give a shit about your ancestry, and if you give a fuck about your family, and you're not a selfish person, and you want them to exist out in the ether for reality, for the eternity of reality, it is your duty to be successful. So if you love your family, and you love your last name, and you're proud of yourself, then you have a duty to be massively, monumentally successful, to show homage to your ancestors. I find it amazing there are people out here today who are going to sit and say, oh, I'm sad, I'm too depressed, I don't want to work hard. Do you understand that only 200 years ago, there were peasants out working a field, starving, surviving the Black Death, surviving the plague, struggling to exist just to reproduce so that 200 years later, you can be the end of their bloodline, for you to sit on your ass and do fucking nothing. Like, you're a fuck up. You're fucking up your entire bloodline of your entire ancestry. You owe these people things. They went through hell for you to exist. You have a debt. You have a duty to pay. You have to be the best possible version of yourself. And the same to God. God loves people who try. God loves people who work hard. It's amazing if you try your very best all the time, what God will give you. He'll give it to you, anything you want, if you actually try. Not convincing yourself you try, actually try. They're different things. But yeah, I was instilled with this because from a young age, my dad said, you're a Tate. And Tates are the greatest people on the face of the planet. And there's going to be a day I'm not here anymore, and they're going to talk about me because of how fantastic you are. So go do your fucking job. A lot of people don't have the ability to understand the compounding effect of doing the right thing time after time. Even if you start a new business and you don't know what to do. I guarantee if you're always on time, if you're a builder and you're always on time, take the basic shit. Just be on time.
Yeah.
Over time, you may think, oh, I was just on time, no one notices. Trust me, across 10 years, that's the difference between being a successful builder and not being a successful. Not only do you lack fire, you lack imagination. Because when you're poor, let me tell you something poor people do all the time. You imagine. My brother and I used to sit around and talk about what could be if only we managed to get it out. How it would feel to have this car. How it would feel to be in this place. How it would feel to be famous and internationally renowned. How it would feel to go to Saint-Tropez and live on a yacht. How it would feel to be able to fly on private planes. How it would feel to not have to worry about food anymore. My brother and I used to imagine for hours. We used to talk about it. We believed in this version of reality where we somehow made it. But if you're in the middle, you don't do that. You don't want it enough to talk about it and imagine over the temporary dopamine and entertainment you can achieve from the fucking PlayStation your mother bought you because your parents have enough money for PlayStations. We didn't have one. We couldn't get one. We couldn't afford it. I'd like to be rich, but Netflix is on and the TV's on and mom's just brought me a Capri Sun. The heating's on. I'm not cold. Everything's fine. So you don't sit and imagine deep in your soul. Not only do you lack fire, not only do you lack motivation, you lack imagination. And that's why it's very important. You need to start believing you are the fucking man, even if you're not yet. Before I was world champion, I knew I was going to be world champion. You have to believe these things. Poor people imagine escaping. And rich people have duty to their last name, which is instilled in them. So they are born and raised to be winners. Your parents are not doing that. Your parents aren't even saying you need to be rich because your last name is X. They're not saying that. They're saying, well, I want you to follow your passion and I want you to be happy. And, you need to go to school, just get a degree and get a mortgage. And as long as you're happy,
It's bullshit. They are poisoning you.
Because you will not be happy.
You better get some fucking money. What do you mean you want to follow your dreams? What do you mean you're tired? What do you mean you want to go to fucking therapy? What do you mean you want to just sit around and play video games? You better get some money, you little bitch.
Deliver those newspapers.
Yeah, go get a fucking job. Go work at a gas station. I don't give a shit. Get some money. Go get some money. And we used to sit there struggling to make money as teenagers, giving it all away to our parents to keep the house functioning, dreaming of a world where we didn't have to do that anymore. We had imagination and we had hunger and fire. You don't have those things. That's why you're fucked. Do you not understand? It doesn't matter how tired I get when I fight. I'm never actually tired because I am so desperate to hurt my opponent. I am more desperate to hurt him than I am tired. In all realms, forever. That is the hunger and motivation. That's why boxers start poor. That's why fighters are poor. There's a different mentality they're born with. They imagine being champion. They're prepared to do anything it takes. They have hunger and fire inside of them. There's no fucking middle class champions. None. So it's extremely important you develop your imagination as well as your fire. And I'm saying this to you because there's a whole bunch of you who don't realize how badly you've failed. You were born somewhere in the middle, and you're still somewhere in the middle. You grew up in some middle-class fucking household. Your parents had a car. Your parents had jobs. They had a mortgage. They paid their house off. You've now moved out. You got some fucking average-ass apartment in Miami. You fucked the odd girl. You got some Audi. You make a little bit of money. You think you're a G. You're a fucking nobody. You've not even managed to surpass your parents. You haven't elevated on any level. You're exactly where they fucking were. You're at the same fucking place. And I'm telling you, unless you get into the ultra wealthy, unless you're in a position like my brother and I, where you can spend millions and millions of dollars a day for the rest of human time, eventually you're going to end up some degree of slave. You need to start imagining what actual freedom is. You need to start seeing beyond the confines of your comfort. You need to start developing the hunger it's going to take for you to elevate to the highest possible echelons and stop being enslaved by your comfort, because that's what you're enslaved by. It's extremely important. What have you done today which is going to positively affect the outcome of your future? How many of you at home have actively tried to network today? Learned something new today? When have you sat and imagined your dream life? When have you self-analyzed and self-reflected and tried to work out where you've gone wrong to end up such a mediocre specimen of man? Why can't you go down to the dealer and buy a brand new Lamborghini right now? Why not? Is it a lack of money? Is it a lack of, what is it? Is it only money? Are you afraid if you buy one you'll get robbed? Are you a pussy? What is stopping you? Have you even thought about any of these things? Has it even crossed your mind? It's extremely important, gentlemen, that you understand the chessboard and understand exactly where you are so you can make changes. Most of you are not actively building a future. You're not actively trying to build the dream life that you want to have. And then you expect it to just appear. Do you know why? Because when you were born in the middle, your parents put food in the fridge. It just appeared. The heating was just on because it was cold outside. Do you not understand when you were born here and it was cold outside and you said, Mom, it's cold. Can we put the heating on? She'd say, do you have any fucking money?
Put on a sweater. Sweaters are free.
You'd say, no, I don't have any money. You ain't got any money. Why do you want the heater on? It's like, because I ain't got any well, it's cold. Well, then get some fucking money. We were taught, if you want something, get money. Mom, I'm hungry. You got any money? No. Well, then you're hungry. Bitch, get some money. We knew. You never had that problem. You think your dream life's going to just appear on your doorstep because food just appeared in your fridge and the heating just fucking turned on. It was given to you by your fucking parents and they have neutered you. They've taken away your fucking spirit of resistance, your spirit to conquest and fight back. That's why people at the bottom, we understand intricately. We understand this viscerally. We understand that nothing is going to come to us unless we go out there and get it ourselves. And once you have that, you have endless motivation for all things. That is extremely important. You may never be poor, but you'll never matter. You'll be somewhere here in the middle forever. Because you know what? It's not just in the middle financially. It's the middle in all ways.
You're not strong.
You're not strong. Yeah. You're not unique. Women can't smell warrior on you. Your woman cheats on you. Your woman back talks you. You think a rich man has to deal with that? No. Because otherwise she doesn't get to go on the boat. You think a poor man has to deal with that? No. Because otherwise she gets domestic violence. Only you in the middle are having a fucking female run her mouth up to you and you're going, please, babe, calm down. All because you're such a fucking pussy, you won't do what it takes to have an essence of superiority and power about you. It's truly incredible how lazy you are if you're prepared to spend your only spin of this earth living a subpar experience purely because you cannot find the fire inside of you to get up and get things done. God wants to see you take care of what he has given you. Nobody continues to give gifts to the ungrateful. This is absolutely true about life, except the people who are most likely to get gifts when they're ungrateful are the idiots in the middle. When you're at the bottom, you don't get gifts at all. If you do, you better fucking show you're grateful for it or you're never going to get it again. At the top, if they give you money or give you gifts, they expect you to go out there and do something fantastic with it, like they would do, because they have high expectations of themselves and their bloodline. But if you're in the middle, you're allowed to fuck up. Do you think Baron Trump is going to be allowed to fuck up with Trump's money? Doubt it. Do you think the people at the bottom are allowed to fuck up with a few dollars in the house? No. You know who's allowed to fuck up? You. Somewhere in the middle, you can borrow a bit of money. You can, oops, I got in debt. Oops, I gamble. Oops, I'm a dummy. You can oops. And guess what? They'll bail your stupid ass out. You will never truly feel the sting of rock bottom. And that's why you're going to stay where you are. I'm going to build my wealth in 22 years. 22 fucking years? That's how much time you have? That's how much food's in your fridge, you little bitch? You're going to sit around and just wait 22 years? People die in our world. We don't have 22 fucking years. We have things to do. We have to go and get it. We have hunger inside of us. You are so lazy. Most of you have a plan to get rich in 3 years from now, and that's fine. You don't understand you could get rich in 3 weeks if you tried.
Every single man watching this knows that women want fighters. Every single man watching this would love to be able to say he's a fighter. But 99% of the men watching this will not go fight because they are afraid. They're all cowards. They're cowards. It's literally mind-blowing to me, the level of cowardice we're forced to endure.
Yeah. I think that God teaches you through pain and suffering. Every single time you suffer pain, you're learning a lesson. And to be honest with you, I don't think men learn lessons any other way. I don't think we are capable of learning lessons without pain. I can give you a bunch of examples. How many times has your girl said, stop cheating on me or I'm going to leave? And you're like, yeah. And you keep cheating. And then she leaves. You're like, Dad, don't leave.
She actually did it.
You only learn the hard way. That's men. So that's why God teaches us the hard way. So for you to have value, for you to have wisdom, for you to be able to give lessons, you need to have a very difficult life. The reason people listen to me talk is because my life has been good and bad. Mm-hmm. If I was only good, if I was only sitting here talking about what watches I can buy, nobody would care.
Yeah.
For the longest period of human time, for a man to be respected, for him to even be admired by society on any level, to some degree, he had to be a warrior. That's what men did. We fought.
Right.
That's what men did. We fought. So if you're out here as a man and you have no battle in your life, no conquest in your life, no form of war in your life, then what you do? And it doesn't have to be physical. Physical is the best example of it. Every woman wants a boxer or a cage fighter. Of course you do. So every woman wants a boxer or a cage fighter, but this is the testament to the problem of the modern world, right?
Right.
Every single man watching this knows that women want fighters. Every single man watching this would love to be able to say he's a fighter, but 99% of the men watching this will not go fight because they are afraid. They're all cowards. They'll make up every excuse under the sun. Oh, I was busy with my Bitcoin. Oh, You're all a bunch of... They are all of them. That's all they are. And women can smell that. So if you want to have a woman who truly respects you, you need to put yourself through war in some form. Now, what most men do is they avoid physical confrontation because they're cowards and they start doing physical confrontation. This is why men are so obsessed with money, because it's a degree of conquest. We can no longer walk the earth and conquer land, right? It's not like the olden days where we could just walk around as the Romans and just chop somebody up and take their land. So now we conquer the land financially. This is why men will work so hard to be a CEO and give up his whole life just to be a CEO, because then he gets to feel like he's conquering something. Men have that innate desire for conquest. So that's the second best thing, I guess, is to get rich. I mean, it's not a bad thing to be rich. Certainly not. But if someone were to say to me, look, you have to build the archetype of an individual. You have to build a man from the ground up, and he has to be respected by both men and women. He'd be a dude getting in the cage, kicking the shit out of people. And every man knows this, and every man can do it. But they're all just pussies. We suffer from modern society, and all of its problems suffers from the fact that we are plagued by monumental cowardice amongst the male population. all men are cowards. They're cowards. It's literally mind blowing to me. The level of cowardice we're forced to endure. Everyone's
I think we're here to struggle and to learn. I don't think we're here to be happy. That's why when we keep going back to the happy argument, I've always found that kind of frustrating and annoying. And someone goes, oh, but I want to be happy. Why? Why do you want to sit there and laugh? Like you were happy your entire childhood. That's your happy days. You're allowed to be happy as a kid. It's all over now, right? You're a man. You have responsibilities. I think we're here to do important. Provide, protect. And we're also here to do important things, and important things are going to be difficult and they're going to be hard and you're going to get frustrated. But that's what gives you purpose. I don't see anyone who's chasing happiness. I think that's a very feminine frame. I understand why some women just want to be happy. I don't know how it feels to be a girl because I'm not one. But in my experience, I know women who just want to be happy. Yeah. Girls just want to have fun. Fine. But you're a man, right? And if you're a man, then it's absolutely an utterly different experience of life. I think we're here to struggle. I think we're here to endure pain. Yeah. I think we're here to just see how hard we are to kill. I think that going through terrible things and living through them and coming out the other side is one of the most fantastic things about being human. I think that it's almost like once you understand what life is really about, there's no emotion which isn't enjoyable. The only emotional state which can be seen as detrimental is feeling nothing at all. But if you're sitting at home and you're feeling truly heartbroken, at least you're feeling something, right? And I think that's the whole part of being human. I think we're here to struggle. I think we're here to go through pain. That's so I wake up each day and go, what can I attack? What problem can I solve? And look at history. Why did Genghis Khan wake up and want to conquer the whole world? Why did Napoleon conquer the world? Why did Alexander the Great conquer the world? Just wake up and just say, give me this, give me that. I want all of it. I need to, there's an army there. They're really big. We're better. It's intrinsic. Yeah. You need to go and conquer. That's the purpose of life.
Yeah. But why do you think that we were created here to do you believe that God created us? So why did God create us to struggle? Like, what is it?
Because if you don't struggle, you don't learn. Yeah. God created us to learn and understand ourselves and understand other people and understand the world. And what did I say earlier? I said that you don't learn a lesson or you don't appreciate something without pain. So you have to struggle to learn anything. There's only two ways to learn things, the hard way or the harder way. If you're smart, you can learn the hard way. But in my experience, 99% of the planet only learn the hardest possible way. If the lesson's even 85% effective, they'll make the same mistake. It's only when they completely decimate and destroy an element of their life do they sit there and go, oops, now I get it. No. That's how it goes.
And this is the thing about the market now. It's getting to the world where it's getting more polarizing. It's getting easier for women. It's getting extremely difficult for men. And if you still want to be a player in the world today, you have to up your game as a man. Facts. You have to.
There's so much work for you to do as a man. I don't know how people I barely sleep and I never not work and I never lay in. I'm never lazy. And I don't understand how people don't work all of the time. And when I say that, people say, but work on what? I don't know what to work on. Bro, you need 10 passports. You need 25 bank accounts. You need shell companies. You need a trust fund. You need to make some money. You then need to move that money away. You need multiple places to live. You need a place for your children to live. They need a trust fund. You have stuff to do. Yep. And the people are just sitting around doing nothing. It's mind boggling to me. And I guess if you sit around and do nothing, maybe you won't be successful. But if you're lucky enough to pull something off and make a little bit of money and you get too large, but you haven't done the groundwork, then you get wrecked the other way. They want people inside of their slave containers. They want everyone in the middle.
I have very little sympathy for people. And that's not because I'm not a nice person, but it's because I've been so hard on myself and I've been through so many things that were difficult and I've been through so much pain and trauma myself. Some of it self-inflicted, some of it given to me by God to make me a better person. But I've been so difficult on myself. It's very hard for me to look at somebody who's refused to be difficult on themselves and see them as my equal or feel sympathy or pity for them. Why would I feel pity for somebody who took the easy route when I took the hardest possible route? Yeah. I took the hardest possible way to be the man I am, and you were too big of a, and now you want me to feel sorry for you? I don't feel sorry for you. Yeah. I don't feel sorry for these people. And because as a man, you can be anything you decide you want to be. That's the beauty of being a male. You can build your character completely from the ground up, just like a video game. Every single thing about me that people respect, I built. I was not born a world champion kickboxer. I was not born this intelligent or intellectual. I was not born this rich. I was not born this strong. I was not born this confident. I was not born this interesting. I was not born this charismatic and humble and gorgeous and tall and strong and sexy. I was not born none of these things. I became these things myself. So I deserve all the spoils of war. And anybody who decides they don't want to work hard enough to become those things, then they deserve to sit and accept they're my inferior. Yeah. That's their problem.
I talk about this all the time. People say I've had a traumatic life. I say, well, then you're very, very fortunate. You had a traumatic life. Now, you may have misused that trauma. You may have misplaced it. You may have accepted the matrix telling you that you now have an excuse to fail as opposed to using it to grow. But every single man of value went through trauma and they went through pain. It's going to be painful to get strong, painful to get rich, painful to become important. It's going to be painful to become good with women. Your heart's going to get broken a bunch of times. You have to be prepared for the pain. If you're not ready for pain, you're never going to be anything that matters. So Justin just absolutely and utterly nailed it. My kickboxing coach used to say to me, I used to come in the gym, say, what do you hate the most? And I say, I hate running. He said, okay, you're going running. I say, why? He goes, because whatever you hate is what you need. Whatever you hate is what you need. I wanted to spar, bag work, pads, no problem. Running, I didn't want to run, but that's what you need. And that's what life's about. You're not going to be able to go through life avoiding pain and also becoming a man of quality. You're going to have to be that guy who's been through so much shit that he can wake up and go, this ain't nothing. This ain't nothing compared to back then. This ain't nothing compared to that time, you know? And if you're not going to be that guy, then you're going to always suffer the consequences of not being that guy. There's pain to become important and there's pain in not being important. So you have to make a choice. So I think Justin absolutely utterly nailed it. I think his answer is even better than mine could be. You need to find something you're afraid of, find something that could hurt you and go do it. And that's one of the great things about being young, right? You're basically superhuman.
Yeah.
All of us are our age. We're all in our 30s. I remember when I was 21. Bro, I could
through a wall.
Bro, I could drink all night.
Yeah.
I run 20 miles.
Fight all
You couldn't
day.
hurt me. Like I had Wolverine-like healing abilities. And this is actually one of the problems with the world today. I noticed the internet's up because we have all these youngsters who have a voice. They all think they know something on Twitter and on the internet, these kids, right? When I was 23, 22, I didn't know shit. I'm 35 now. I'm one of the smartest men on the planet. And when I was 23, I didn't know shit. When you're 35, you're definitely going to still be a dumbass. So when you're 23, like you are now, you don't know anything. Your only attribute is the fact you have Wolverine-like healing abilities. You're not using it. Stop talking. Start listening. Get out there. Get hurt. Get the back up. There is a degree of wisdom that comes from physicality. I learned a whole bunch of shit about the world from just having my ass kicked. It wasn't even conversations. It was just getting beaten up. And you learn about the world I write tweets and they're like, that's so wise. Where'd you learn that? I was like, oh, kicked in the face. That's how. Beauty lies on top of the mountain, my friends. You have to climb it. You have to get all the way up there to see the peak and its amazing view. Let me tell you something. I'm happy because all I've done is suffer. That's all I've ever done is suffer. This is how I got here. Suffer. My life's been nothing but suffering and trauma. That's how I got here. That's why my worldview is so brilliant. That's how I can wake up. And as long as no one has a gun to my head, I am happy because I have suffered. You, ladies and gentlemen, haven't suffered enough. And if you haven't suffered, you're never going to be happy. Happiness lies atop a mountain. If it's just laying all over the floor and anyone can pick it up, it has no value. People's entire mental model is skewed. You're a crypto guy, right? You believe in NFTs. NFTs, the whole point of them is that there's one. It's the scarcity that provides the value. If things are not scarce, there's no value to it.
Yeah.
Right? So it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter if it's financial. It doesn't matter if it's even a good body, right? The fact that a guy has big arms, the reason that has value is because it's rare. If every dude naturally had big arms by default, it wouldn't have a value. So you're talking about happiness as if it should just be laid all over the floor. If everyone could pick up happiness without trying, you still wouldn't be happy because it wouldn't have value. And you'd be aiming for you'd be looking for a new attention of happiness. You'd be looking for something else. You just raised the paradigm. And people who are out here trying to find happiness without trauma and suffering, those are the guys who get addicted to drugs, alcohol, all this crap. They're trying to find temporary happiness. You're going to find happiness through pain. That's where happiness comes from as a man. And I know you say you take some of my advice, et cetera, et cetera.
I love male advice.
Yeah, perfect. But it's the struggle that adds the value to things. The reason I'm going to love my cars so much is because I had nothing. And now I have them.
Walked 9 miles.
I walked 9 miles. Now I get to do it in a Lambo. It's beautiful. If I was born into money and was just given a Lambo for my birthday, I wouldn't even appreciate it. Yeah. That's the reality. So most of you men out here don't even deserve happiness. You come to me talking about happiness you don't deserve. And you know you don't deserve it because you're a coward and you're lazy and you're weak. You don't deserve happiness. It's good you're unhappy. That's your own mind telling you need to do more. Because if you were genuinely making an impact on the world and exerting your entire masculine force out into the universe, if you were genuinely doing that, you'd find happiness. So if you're sitting there feeling depressed, it's because you know you're lazy. You know you're not working very hard. And the whole people, especially men, if you have this paradigm in your mind that you should just be happy by default without trying, without working, without any kind of struggle, without any negatives in your life, and you're just going to be a happy person and you're always just going to be laughing and giggling in the top 1%, that's asimine. It's not real. It's a stupid mentality to have. I don't care how happy you are. You have work to do. If any man comes to me and he's looking for guidance, I say, I don't really care how happy you are because you're fat. You got work to do. Come talk to me when you have a six pack. Otherwise, I don't care. You have too much to get done to be talking about happiness.
A man has to have tenacity and go through struggles and days where you're like, I can't do this anymore, but still pop your head up the next day and be like, all right, let me get back in the gym.
I say this.
Tenacity.
I say this all the time. I say the best things that ever happened to me are the worst things that ever happened to me. All the trauma and bullshit I've been through in my life are the best things that ever happened to me. Because as a man, if you've not had a difficult life, you cannot be good at being a man. Being a good man and being good at being a man, they're two slightly different things. But to be good at being a man, you need to have been through so much shit that when the Matrix deletes your entire life from the internet and starts lying about you at mass, and people start doing protests wanting you hung, and they're looking for your family members, and reporters start calling every ex-girlfriend you've ever had, trying to convince them and bribe them to lie, to come out and say you're something you're not. When they're genuinely out to put you in jail, that you can sit there and be focused and stoic enough to go, you know what? Okay, what's the chessboard? What's going to happen? Who's trying to shoot me right now? Nobody. Okay, so it's better than it was a couple years ago. Okay, so X, Y, Z, and plan through it, right? You're never going to be capable as a man if you've not had trauma. The best men ever have had trauma. If you call a police officer, you need a brave police officer. He ain't going to be brave unless he's been through shit. Yeah. He's not going to be brave unless he's been through shit. So we also, as a society, sit and look at men and go, there's two kinds of society. There's the matrix society, but the true society, the true women with a brain, I want a man who's strong, who's supportive, who's intelligent, who financially provides, etc. Then you're going to want a man to some degree who's been through some shit. Yeah. And a man who's internalized it and used it as a weapon. And this is what I say to people. People email me their long lists of all the bad things that happened to them. And I reply, fantastic. You are so lucky. You have all the building blocks to become the exact kind of man you want to be. If none of this shit happened to you, when something else bad happens to you later, you wouldn't be able to deal with it. Fantastic. And he goes, no, but this. He replied again with more excuses. Said, why are you making excuses? I just told you what happened to you is a good thing. You need to reframe your mind. Bad things happened to Batman. They killed his parents. Do you understand? That's why he's Batman. You've just told me you have the building blocks to become you might become top G when I retire. Fantastic. What are you complaining about? He goes, well, what do? I said, you need to work. Take all that trauma. If you're truly heartbroken, my friend, and we've all been there as men, if you're truly heartbroken, you can't sleep. That means you're going to get in fantastic shape. You better hit the gym. You have nothing else to do. Stop watching YouTube. Stop emailing me. I want pictures of you in the gym. Get fucking work. Heartbreak's a fantastic motivator, as is depression, as is sadness. Great. Look at what's pissing you off and make sure it never happens again. If you were jacked and rich as, she probably wouldn't have left your ass. So get your shit together. Right? So this is so important. Trauma is such an important part of being a man. And the Matrix talks of trying to say that trauma is terrible and avoid trauma, or if you get trauma, take a pill, and that's unrealistic. Trauma is going to happen to you, and you as a man need to internalize it, accept it, and weaponize it to become the best version of yourself you can be. And that requires mental strength and stoicism.
And this idea of chasing happiness and always being concerned and preoccupied with how happy you are is actually the biggest mistake that a lot of people make, I think, in the world today. Especially men who wake up and go, I don't really feel happy, so I need to get happier. And that's how they end up down a hedonistic path of drugs or alcohol or gambling, chasing pleasure. I don't care how I feel. Yeah. I don't care if I feel happy or sad. It doesn't really affect what I do each day. I do the exact same things. I act the exact same way. I don't care. Yeah. I don't put weight to the significance of the emotion. So I always consider myself a happy person, but if I woke up and I was slightly less happy one day than another, it wouldn't affect anything I do, and I wouldn't put any relevance to it. I'm human, and that's life. And so, am I any happier now that I have hundreds of millions of dollars than before I was broke? Yeah. Not really, but I was never unhappy. I'm the same state that I was then, that I am now. I have work to do, and I will do it. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, very well put. Yeah. No, but you're right. Definitely. I've heard like the chase for happiness, and the more you try to seek happiness, the more you enforce in yourself that you're not happy.
Well, also there's no light without dark, and there's no joy without pain. You can't have a rainbow without a little rain. Exactly. And no matter how hard you chase pleasure and happiness, there's going to be dips and troughs in between. There's going to be come downs and downtrends. And you're going to have the juxtaposition between that time you were laughing your head off and acting giddish like a child, and the time that you feel depressed as such. And I think it's much better to just adopt a very disciplined, stoic mindset. I'm always the same base level of happy regardless. If I lost all of my money today, I would be the same happy. Mm-hmm. If my net worth quadrupled, I'd be the same happiness. Yeah. As long as I am alive,
which is a struggle, unfortunately, in the current climate. But as long as I'm alive and the people I care about and love are alive, and as long as God gives me the honor of doing my duties and providing for the people I care about, as long as I get to wake up and know that there's a whole bunch of people in the world who need me and I get to work hard to please them and do good for society and good for the world, then I'm a vessel of God and I'm happy enough to survive. That's all I look at it as. I don't ever consider how do I feel. That doesn't cross my mind. I have things to do.
You're too busy to think about that.
I'm too busy. I have things to do every single day. I have very important things to do, and how I feel really is not going to affect how I complete those tasks.
Right.
And when I speak to men, they say I'm unhappy or I need to be happier. I think that's absolutely the wrong frame of life. You're a man. You have duty. You have honor. You have things you should be doing regardless of how you feel. And the people who are perma obsessed with happiness or sadness, I just think it's the wrong paradigm to view the lens of life. I think you should get up and do what needs to be done.
There is a huge percentage of the populace which they're beyond saving because they're the worst thing you can possibly be, which is a quitter. Being a quitter is the worst thing you can possibly be. God himself can't make a quitter important, because the only reason the place you're trying to get to has value is because it was difficult to reach. If everybody could reach it, there'd be no value. Value is linked to scarcity. The whole point gold is valuable is because it's not everywhere. If it was everywhere, it wouldn't have any value. The reason the place you're trying to reach is valuable is because people can't get there. So if you're the kind of person who quits, you're never going to get there. Quitters are the worst. You could give a quitter a map, a treasure map, and a hot air balloon, and say, it's going to take you right to the treasure. It's going to be a 7-day journey. Here's a sandwich. And halfway through, they'll be like, oh, I'm cold.
Yeah. You just said that, 7 days. Nah.
Yeah. And they'll quit.
Yeah.
Quitters will never make it. And there's a huge subsect of the populace who are basically simply quitters. I've never in my life seen anyone who's determined to get something not get it. I've never seen somebody who is determined in their heart to get something not get it. The universe and God is so giving and providing. People think it's difficult out here. I disagree. I've never seen someone wake up and say, nah, this is all I care about. This is all I want. Not get it. Everyone who thought that way in fighting was a world champion. Everyone who thought that way about money was rich. I've never seen anyone fail. Bro, I've seen people with no credit score and no job determined to get an R8 manage to get one on finance somehow. I've seen it. If it's all you want, you're going to get it.
You're going to find a way to get it.
You're going to find a way.
Yeah.
People go, oh, I want this. If you wanted it, you'd have it.
Literally, I spoke to a man who had done a podcast with recently. He was saying, if someone had a gun to your children's head and said to you, the only way I'm going to move this gun is by you making $1 million, you are going to make $1 million.
100%.
Yeah.
You're going to be motivated for the first time in your life. People often say, if you try your best, it's okay to fail. But what they don't understand, the true secret to the universe is that if you try your best, you never fail.
Yeah.
The modern world was built by men trying to prove their capabilities and prove they could do things. I barely sleep and I never not work and I never lay in. I'm never lazy. And I don't understand how people don't work all of the time. The answer to everything has always been raw action.
I was talking to my brother. I was saying, if you know good men, all they want to do is most of the time is work. What men who are good want to do most of the time is some version of work. Training, making money, organizing their life, getting their car cleaned, whatever. It's a degree of work. Women love fun. Women want fun all the time. And fun is where all the haramities appear. It's where all the negative organs appear. You're only going to get in a fight if you're going out trying to have fun. You're all like drugs and rape charges and physical violence and assassinations. This all is linked to fun.
Yeah.
If you want fun, you're dragging all this shit into your life. Wasting money.
Getting drunk.
Yeah. If you want to just work, you can avoid a lot of bad things.
Am I hard on myself? Yes. Does that benefit me? I believe so. I'm hard on myself because life is hard. I think
could life be easier if you thought life was easy? Because isn't life what you see, not what it is?
What's the point in having an easy life? Why would I want an easy life? If someone were to say to me, do you want an easy life? I'd say that sounds boring. I mean, did Genghis Khan want an easy life? Did Alexander the Great want an easy life? Did any of the men you can remember from history, any of the ones that actually matter, ever want an easy life? If I meet a man and he says, I want an easy life, I just want a stress-free life, I look at him and think, you're born to lose. You're born to lose, sir. You can have your stress-free life and you can serve me my latte and you can, because you're not made to, life is war and it's going to be stressful. And
life isn't always war.
Of course it is. Life is war. Every single aspect of life is war. Not losing your temper in traffic on your way to a podcast is war. Trying to get a girl that the other guy wants is war. Trying to buy a Ferrari that everybody else can't afford is war. Training is war. Fighting is war. Life is war. I see war everywhere. When I see a big, beautiful oak tree, I don't see a big, beautiful oak tree. I see a tree that destroyed all the saplings around it and crushed them mercilessly. It's war. Life is war. So that's how I view it.
There's so much work for you to do as a man. I don't know how people I barely sleep and I never not work and I never lay in. I'm never lazy. And I don't understand how people don't work all of the time. And when I say that, people say, but work on what? I don't know what to work on. Bro, you need 10 passports. You need 25 bank accounts. You need shell companies. You need a trust fund. You need to make some money. You then need to move that money away. You need multiple places to live. You need a place for your children to live. They need a trust fund. You have stuff to do.
Yep.
And people are just sitting around doing nothing. It's mind boggling to me.
Anyone who knows me will tell you, if I'm awake, I'm working. I'm awake, I'm working. From the second I wake up, I'm on my laptop till the second I go to sleep. First thing I do when I wake up is check my phone. First thing I do is I work. And if I even do anything fun, I kill all the fun because I make it work. Oh, we can film it, get this, need this scene. Filming having fun is not having fun, ever. So I make it work. So I only enjoy work. I like to work because I like to feel proud of myself. I don't want to be happy. I want to feel proud of myself. So I rest when I sleep. Sure. If I'm ultimately tired and need a few extra hours in bed every once in a while, yeah. Okay, I'll do that. But I never just have a day. Tristan, back me up. Have I ever said I need a day where I just need a day off? Have you ever heard me say I need a day off?
No.
Ever. I work all the time. I think I've always understood that you can outwork people. Yes. You can truly outwork people, and you can outwork a lot of things about yourself as well. You can outwork a lot of negative emotions. You can outwork a lot of problems in your mind. Like people sit and say, oh, I'm unhappy or I'm sad. You don't have time. How do you find the time in the day to sit around thinking about being sad? Like you have shit to do. Like I don't have time to sit around and contemplate how I feel because I'm busy. So how do you even have time for that? I've had people sit and give me long trotes on how they feel. And I'm like, where did you even come up with this shit? How long have you been sitting around just thinking about nothing? I don't have time for it. A plane defies gravity with speed. Oh, man. That's all it does. If a plane stops moving forward, what happens? It falls down, right? So if you can do the same thing with yourself and your mentality and your problems and everyone else around you, you can outwork everybody. So I've always understood outworking people. And I also think that it's very easy to work hard and win when you're already winning. It's hard to get there. It starts off harder. It's harder to find a way to make money and work all the time and deal with all the bullshit and be at the bottom of whatever industry you're in and not have any reputation, whatever. But if I were to say to all of you right now, for every minute you body spar, you get $1,000. I guarantee we'd still be out there right now sparring. Everyone would be like, all right. So like, once you get to the point, like in my position where I know if I put the time in, I'm going to win, then how can I stop now?
What is a man? Truthfully, a man, I believe, is being able to do the things that are hard or do things you don't want to do because you're supposed to do them. I think that's what a man's always been. A man is supposed to be strong. He needs to be strong, so he has to become strong. That's his job. A man is supposed to be brave. It's not that you can't feel fear. It's that you have to be brave. The modern world was built by men trying to prove their capabilities and prove they could do things. That's what the whole world is. That's all it's ever been. But truthfully, the real men were, I'm going to go over and try and cross Antarctica by foot because no one's done it. Well, that doesn't make sense. You'll freeze to death. Maybe, but I might do it. Right? So why are we in skyscrapers? Why have we gone to Mars? Why do men buy expensive things? Why do we do hard things? That's what masculinity's always been. That's how the world was built. But now they're going to come along and say, no, that's not masculinity. Masculinity is not trying to be the best version of yourself and proving to the world that you can do what others can't do. The reason I bought 65 cars is I can put them in a row and it looks funny. Ha ha. Look, I can. Peacock. Look what I can do. Ah.
That's it. It doesn't have to go any deeper. Now I don't have to drive them. I can't even name most of them. But they've now convinced you that true masculinity is being so sure within yourself that you don't have to prove anything to anybody. Well, if you don't have to prove anything to anybody, then you don't have any capability. So you're actually a useless idiot. And if you're going to sit there and be so arrogant that you believe you have no duty to the society or to your woman or to your ancestors, and you can just be secure in yourself, and I don't need to prove myself to nobody, and I'm just secure in myself, well, you're one of the sheep being led to the slaughter because you have absolutely no capabilities whatsoever.
There is a huge percentage of the populace which they're beyond saving because they're the worst thing you can possibly be, which is a quitter. Being a quitter is the worst thing you can possibly be. God himself can't make a quitter important because the only reason the place you're trying to get to has value is because it was difficult to reach. If everybody could reach it, there'd be no value. Value is linked to scarcity. The whole point gold is valuable is because it's not everywhere. If it was everywhere, it wouldn't have any value. The reason the place you're trying to reach is valuable is because people can't get there. So if you're the kind of person who quits, you're never going to get there. Quitters are the worst. You could give a quitter a map, a treasure map, and a hot air balloon. And say, it's going to take you right to the treasure. It's going to be a 7-day journey.
But
here's a sandwich. And halfway through, they'll be like, oh, I'm cold.
Yeah. You just said that they are 7 days now.
Yeah, and they'll quit.
Yeah.
Quitters will never make it. And there's a huge subsect of the populace who are basically simply quitters. I've never in my life seen anyone who's determined to get something not get it. I've never seen somebody who is determined in their heart to get something, not get it. The universe and God is so giving and providing. People think it's difficult out here. I disagree. I've never seen someone wake up and say, nah, this is all I care about. This is all I want. Not get it. Everyone who thought that way in fighting was a world champion. Everyone who thought that way about money was rich. I've never seen anyone fail. Bro, I've seen people with no credit score and no job determined to get an R8 manage to get one on finance somehow. I've seen it. If it's all you want, you're going to get it.
You're going to find a way to
You're going to find a way. Yeah. People go, oh, I want this. If you wanted it, you'd have it.
Literally, I spoke to a man who had done a podcast recently. He was saying if someone had a gun to your children's head and said to you, the only way I'm going to move this gun is by you making $1 million, you are going to make $1 million.
100%.
Yeah.
You're going to be motivated for the first time in your life. People often say, if you try your best, it's okay to fail. But what they don't understand, the true secret to the universe is that if you try your best, you never fail.
Yeah.
That's what people don't understand. And most people aren't trying. They aren't trying. They don't know what trying is. In fact, that's probably one of the things I hear the most. I used to hear the most because I don't talk to people anymore because they all annoy me. I'm trying. No, you're not. You don't know what trying is. No, you are not trying. I know you're not trying. I know because as we sat here before we went to speak, you weren't on your phone working. You weren't trying. You were standing around talking shit to some idiot. You're not trying. People are genuinely not out here giving their absolute best because if you were, you'd have everything you've ever desired. You'd have anything you've ever wanted and asked for. Instead, what people do is they cope and convince themselves they're trying. Oh, I tried, but I need a work-life balance and it's hard and I was trying. All garbage. It's all cope. And like I said earlier, life is war. If you're a man and you don't view the world as war, I can't imagine how you view the world. My entire worldview is war.
I guess the only disadvantage of being so hard on myself is that I'm extremely hard on others. And some people find me difficult to deal with for that reason. They'll be like, oh, I'm struggling with this. I'm like, I do not give. It has to be done at this time. Oh yeah, but. I don't care. You will lose your job if it's not done at this time. That's the bottom line. And I guess I can be ruthless, but why would I have sympathy for somebody else I don't have for myself? If I'm going to be so strict on myself, why would I allow sympathy for others? If I know I'm going to do it, I'm going to hold them to my standard. No. So I guess to a degree I can come across as unempathetic to others, I guess. But, at least I'm not a hypocrite. You know, and I also like to believe that because I lead from the front, I'm not a armchair general. I'm suffering myself. So if I'm going to suffer and I'm going to perform and I'm going to get everything I need to do done, then I expect absolutely the same from everybody around me or they're not going to be around me. So am I hard on myself? Yes. Will that change? No. Life is war. Life is hard. You're supposed to be hard on yourself. Perhaps most men would benefit from being a lot harder on themselves. I think I see a lot of men coming up with a lot of excuses for permanent failure. I see it all the time.
Why? I can't pay my bills. Okay, cool. Why? Oh, cause it's hard. It's all just sympathy bull. I don't want to hear it. It's garbage. It's hard. It's hard for everybody. And you're going to have to just be harder on yourself and pull it off or fail. And don't talk to me. Bro, it's, I don't know what to say. I don't want to come across as a psychopath, but it's like life is difficult. And also, I mean, we all know that there's always someone who has it worse, but that's true. I mean, we're in Romania. You can drive 5 hours to the border and you'll find men in a ditch getting blown apart by drones. You're crying over what? A bitch left you? A girl left you? Some chick who doesn't love you anymore? And you're not going to do your work because of it? Well, then you're just born to lose.
I always knew the answer to everything is raw action.
Yeah.
The answer to everything has always been raw action. My dad had a tweet about this. He said that raw action solves all. And he used to say this. I'll give you an example. If you're a farmer and you need rain for your crop and there's no rain, you can sit there and say there's no rain. We're all going to starve. Or you can stand up and do a rain dance. Now, will your rain dance work? Perhaps not. Perhaps the rain won't come. But I would argue that you're better off standing up doing that rain dance than just sitting there waiting to die. You have to do something. Raw action solves. So when I was broke, I was never like, I'm poor. I'm poor. What do I do? It was, I'm poor. I have to do something. If I was broke, I'd go for a run. That's why I was such a great fighter. If I was broke, I'd sit there and go, I'm actually poor. How do I make money? Dunno. Where can I get some cash? Dunno. What work can I do? Dunno. I'll just go for a run then. And I just go for 3-mile run or go hit the punch bag and get better.
This resonates so deeply, man. This is exactly what I did.
That's exactly. You just have to say, well, I have to do something. I can't just sit still and die. A lot of people are happy to just sit still and die or jerk off and go to sleep and take a nap. Well, if that's what you want to do, then you can say a loser. That's fine. I'm glad there are losers because if everyone had Lamborghinis, my Lamborghini wouldn't be fun to show off. I need you to look at it and feel the deep pain in your heart of regret and failure. That's the whole point of it. I need to drive my Bugatti and everyone be looking at it going, I'll never have one of those. And I can get all their energy and feel it all. And it makes me happy. Fantastic. So you can sit at home and do nothing. But when I was poor, I had to go for a run. I couldn't sit still or lift weights or do something. I couldn't even sleep. So raw action solves everything. And I understood that at a young age. But as you get older, you get to look back and you get to put your whole story together, the whole tapestry together. I knew I wouldn't stay poor. Did I ever think I'd get this rich? Well, I never said I wouldn't, but did I ever think it would probably happen at this level? No, but it's amazing how the compounding interest of just endless raw action adds up. I've never had a lazy day. I've never skipped work, never missed an email, never had a day off, ever. If you were to go through the last 3 years of my life, you will see that there's never been a day where I wasn't doing what I was supposed to do. And it all just adds up and then monumental success comes and you get to laugh at everybody else. Ha ha ha. And life's great.
I think we're here to struggle and to learn. I don't think we're here to be happy. That's why when we keep going back to the happy argument, I've always found that kind of frustrating and annoying. Yeah. When someone goes, oh, but I want to be happy. Why? Why do you want to sit there and laugh? Like you were happy your entire childhood. That's your happy days. You're allowed to be happy as a kid. It's all over now, right? You're a man. You have responsibilities. I think we're here to do important. Provide, protect. And we're also here to do important things, and important things are going to be difficult and they're going to be hard and you're going to get frustrated, but that's what gives you purpose. Yeah. I don't see anyone who's chasing happiness. I think that's a very feminine frame. I understand why some women just want to be happy. I don't know how it feels to be a girl because I'm not one. But in my experience, I know women who just want to be happy. Yeah. Girls just want to have fun. Fine. But you're a man, right? And if you're a man, then it's absolutely an utterly different experience of life. I think we're here to struggle. I think we're here to endure pain. Yeah. I think we're here to just see how hard we are to kill. I think that going through terrible things and living through them and coming out the other side is one of the most fantastic things about being human. I think that it's almost like once you understand what life is really about, there's no emotion which isn't enjoyable. The only emotional state which can be seen as detrimental is feeling nothing at all. But if you're sitting at home and you're feeling truly heartbroken, at least you're feeling something, right? And I think that's the whole part of being human. I think we're here to struggle. I think we're here to go through pain. That's so I wake up each day and go, what can I attack? What problem can I solve? And look at history. Why did Genghis Khan wake up and want to conquer the whole world? Why did Napoleon conquer the world? Why did Alexander the Great conquer the world? You just wake up and just say, give me this, give me that. I want all of it. I need to, there's an army there. They're really big. We're better. It's intrinsic. Yeah. You need to go and conquer. That's the purpose of life.
Why do some men do what they do? Why did Elon decide to put rockets in space instead of just retire? He was rich after PayPal. Why?
That's fair.
Why did Alexander the Great need all that land? Why did men go to the Antarctic to try and cross the icy, barren, empty plains and freeze to death to just be the first men who did it? Why do that? You can't even put it on Facebook back then. Who gives a shit? Some men are built different, sir. Some men want to do it because it hasn't been done. And that is the reason why. They do not need much more motivation than the fact they will be first. There isn't much motivation to get on a rocket and be the first man on the moon because the probability is you're going to die or get stuck up there and never make it back. Or even if you do go and you do come back, half the people on earth won't believe you went at all. So why would you do that unless you're just that kind of guy? The fact that you will say to me, but it puts a target on your head shows me that God will never, ever give you my position of influence, because along the way, you will have so many chances to be which you will take, which will prevent you from ever getting to my echelon of capability and influence and power. Because if I gave about having a target on my head at all, I wouldn't be sitting here right now. And I wouldn't have the ability to do the things I can do.
That's fair.
So I don't care. I'm doing it because it must be done. There's an opportunity for it to be done. And I can do it better than anybody else.
I don't care how I feel.
Yeah.
I don't care if I feel happy or sad. It doesn't really affect what I do each day. I do the exact same things. I act the exact same way. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't put weight to the significance of the emotion. So I always consider myself a happy person. But if I woke up and I was slightly less happy one day than another, it wouldn't affect anything I do and I wouldn't put any relevance to it. I'm human and that's life. And so, yeah, am I any happier now that I have hundreds of millions of dollars than before I was broke?
Yeah.
Not really, but I was never unhappy. I'm the same state that I was then that I am now. I have work to do and I will do it. It's as simple as that.
Yeah. Very well put. Yeah. No, but you're right. Definitely. I've heard like the chase for happiness. And the more you try to seek happiness, the more you enforce in yourself that you're not happy.
Well, also there's no light without dark and there's no joy without pain. You can't have a rainbow without a little rain.
Exactly.
And no matter how hard you chase pleasure and happiness, there's going to be dips and troughs in between. There's going to be come downs and downtrends. And you're going to have the juxtaposition between that time you were laughing your head off and acting giddish like a child and the time that you feel depressed as such. And I think it's much better to just adopt a very disciplined, stoic mindset. I'm always the same base level of happy regardless. If I lost all of my money today, I would be the same happy. If my net worth quadrupled, I'd be the same happiness.
Yeah.
As long as I am alive, which is a struggle, unfortunately, in the current climate. But as long as I'm alive and the people I care about and love are alive, and as long as God gives me the honor of doing my duties and providing for the people I care about, as long as I get to wake up and know that there's a whole bunch of people in the world who need me and I get to work hard to please them and do good for society and good for the world.
Yeah.
Then I'm a vessel of God and I'm happy enough to survive. That's all I look at it as. I don't ever consider how do I feel. That doesn't cross my mind. I have things to do. I have things to do.
You're too busy to think about that.
I'm too busy. I have things to do every single day. I have very important things to do, and how I feel really is not going to affect how I complete those tasks.
Right.
And when I speak to men, they say I'm unhappy or I need to be happier. I think that's absolutely the wrong frame of life. You're a man. You have duty. You have honor. You have things you should be doing regardless of how you feel. And the people who are perma obsessed with happiness or sadness, I just think it's the wrong paradigm to view the lens of life. I think you should get up and do what needs to be done.